Hello, welcome back to the second video on the DLP experiment here using the FortiGate running FortiOS 5.4. And once again, my name is Devin Adams. I am a Fortinet instructor for Dynamic Worldwide in Tempe, Arizona, and this is part two of setting up a DLP sensor for trying to keep files from leaking out of our network. Now, we saw in the last video we put up a sensor, right? And for the file matching, we just did the file name. And yeah, it did work as long as the name was very specific. But yeah, not so much, right? Once we renamed that file, it went ahead and got through. So this is exactly why with the DLP sensoring, you have to do a lot of testing, okay? And also you need to make sure that you have many different types of scanning happening for a single sensor. So our first goal was, let me get into my Windows machine here. Um, my first goal was to try to keep this precious Mona Lisa from leaving our network, okay? And we were able to catch it when it was named Mona.jpg, but the second that we changed it to Joanne, okay, it got through, unfortunately. So let's just jump right into it. Now, in this video, we're just going to try different scanning types. So let's go back to our DLP sensor. All right, so data leak prevention. And then up here, we'll go back to Mona Lisa. And you can see that we have a very specific Mona.jpg. Now, there's a couple of things that we could do here. We could have Mona.jpg, but we can also add another one that is wildcards. So Mona, everything. Okay, so if anything begins with Mona, we can go ahead and catch it. All right, this way, you know, as people make copies of it, and they're not aware that they're you know, slipping something out unintentionally, because that happens, right? When you try to copy the same file within another directory, sometimes it'll just append a 1 to it, you know, that will kind of catch that, so on and so forth. So I'll hit OK here. But another thing that we can do is create a whole nother file scan. And let's say that we are going to, I don't know, let's go ahead and block all file types that are JPEG. Okay, so here we go. So regardless of what they name it, it should still pick it up here and block it. Once again, we're going to turn off the channels that we're not searching for. So I'm going to turn off the mail, but leave FTP and HTTP. And if you are using deep inspection, the equivalents of the secure protocols for these will also be scanned. So, all right, here we go. And let's see if we can't get Joanne.jpg. All right, so here we go. This was our Linux machine, and just representing our end user. And now I'm going to take Joanne. Ooh, look at that. It went ahead and made it. So that's probably because it's cached. Let me make sure. So, all right. Go to some shady site. All right. Ooh, what is going on there? Probably because I didn't hit this apply button. I'm a goofball. All right, here we go. Apply. And let me just double check that is happening here. So file types JPEG. All right. So as you can see, there's many different ones here. There's also batch files, BMP files, GIF files. There's a lot of them here. So unknown file types, right? Maybe people that are just making up obscure names, but it should have picked that up. So because what should happen here is the first one is picked up, right? but if it doesn't match, and this very first one is the anything.mona, it should move on to the second file type, so, or the file scan. So let's go ahead and try that again. Also, even though we've changed the firewall policy, right? If that session has already been established, unfortunately, it will not rescan it if we're making profile changes. So the FortiGate will only rescan traffic coming back through that's already been established if there's an actual policy order change, right? Or if there's a route that has changed. So I'm just going to come in here real quickly and clear the session table just to make sure our scan actually works here. So let's do a diagnosis session, all right, and we'll do a clear. Okay, so now it's going to reevaluate all traffic. Now in real life, by the way, you would not do that. You drop all the traffic on your FortiGate. If you did want to reset all the sessions that were already established for that particular firewall policy that you just changed, you'd have to set some filters in there, but that's a different topic. So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we can't get this to pick up Joanne here. So, which is our Mona Lisa that's just been renamed. So, all right. There we go. No, it still did not take it. I have no idea, guys. That is weird. So let's go ahead and take a look of what's going on there. So I'm going to go to my security profiles. I'm going to go to my data leak prevention. Okay. No, I lied. I'm going to go to my login reports, data leak prevention. And as you can see, still nothing is happening. So let's go to our policy and objects, IP4. Okay. All right. So Mona, so that is there. It should be picking that up. I do not know why it's not. Very interesting. So let's go ahead and take one more look. Let's go to our services. Oh, what am I doing here? Sorry. Once again, it's always a long day when I record these. So, data leak prevention, Mona Lisa. All right. So, specific file types, JPEGs. Okay. I mean, there's not a different file extension for JPEG that I don't know about. All right. There's TIFF. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Executable, bin files, WAV files. I think it took it out of the match because it's already selected. All right, let's take a look here. Yeah, you know what? That is interesting. So what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna leave JPEG on because it should have blocked that. So, and I'm also going to add another one though that says files. Okay, coming across the web. All right, and I'm gonna say specific file types. And there should be you know what, I'll just do this. I'll just do everything for our file patterns and log only. And let's go ahead and see how that is leaving our network. All right, so because in theory it should be able to grab it. So there we go. And then we'll go back to the Linux. All right. And let me go ahead and submit Joanne. All right, your data has been saved, meaning it was uploaded successfully. Okay. And let's see if there's a log file for it. So here we go. All right, so this is saying that it caught the third index file type. All right, and file type bat. That's different. Bat. Why is it doing a bat file? Is that like a batch file? I have no idea. I wonder why it's not a JPEG file. Now, normally, by the way, guys, would we really block all JPEGs? I mean, maybe if it was that granular. I mean, if you really did not want any kind of uploading happening with JPEGs, that could break a lot, though, just to warn you. But I was still curious, and that is neat. I have no idea why it's thinking it's file type BAT. So let's hop back to our security profile here, and let's go to our data leak prevention. All right, let's do the Mona Lisa. Okay, and let's look at these file types, and let's look at the one that says BAT. Why does it think it's a batch file? That is so weird. And this is also why, guys, testing is so important. So here we go. I'm going to have to look that one up, to be honest with you. So let's do that one more time. All right. Let me get my Linux machine here. Okay. Do browse. Okay, there you go. And I was expecting that. I still have no idea why my JPEG came up as batch. That's one thing I'm going to have to look back up. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Couldn't recognize the image file. You know what? I'm wondering if it did not come across the share all right. Huh. Interesting. So let's go ahead and save the file. All right, and I'll save it as a JPEG. Okay, and I'll save it as Mona, but this time I'm going to put it on the desktop. So maybe that file got corrupted when I renamed it. So I'm not too sure. In fact, I can just overwrite it. Here we go. We'll hit save. All right, now it's Joanne. Now it looks like a JPEG. Okay, sure. All right, so I hit F5, resend. Now it went through because we weren't blocking JPEGs. All right, we're blocking batch files. I still don't know why it thought it was a batch file. I have no problem recording my follies here because this is the kind of challenges that we are going to see in real life. Here we go. So let's go to our data leak prevention. All right. Now, normally also you would not turn on all the files like this because that's just too much. Okay. But here's the file names. So here we go. And yeah, now it's recognizing it as a JPEG. So maybe when I was renaming the Joanne, it errored out. So, but now, if we go back to our firewall rules here. So let's go ahead and say system administrators. Nope, I lied. Security profiles, data leak prevention. Okay. And then we'll go to Mona Lisa. And now that we can, with confidence, right, select JPEG, knowing that it's JPEG files. Okay. And we'll hit OK. And in reality, what I'd probably do here is match the file names with the file type. All right. That way, you know, if someone was trying to circumvent it, we don't have to have two different policies that can essentially stack on top of each other. So, but there you go. At least that way I know without a doubt this will catch it now. So, and there you go. So, so that's another way we can do it. We can do it by file name or we can do it by file type. Now, before I end this video, okay, and once again, you got to be very careful because you don't want to just block all the JPEGs. So, you know what? In fact, that could break a lot of that could probably break a lot of things. So, I am actually gonna go back on the FortiGate real quickly, and here we go, and actually delete this one, and I'm going to leave it like we discussed. I'm going to add the file type as being JPEG. Okay. And also the pattern name. Okay. There we go. And that way we don't need multiple firewall rules. So hit a 5 just to resubmit this. And it is still blocked. So, and that way, you know, not everything will get blocked going out. In fact, even if we rename this, right? So to Joanne, it'll still pick up. But what happens now, before we end this, what happens when we go ahead and change the file type to maybe a BMP, all right? And I'll just call this Mona.bmp, hit save. Okay. So there she is. She should be a BMP. And I'm double checking this time, going to properties. All right, BMP right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and send her through the web and see if our filter will pick it up. All right. Now it blocked it, but if we go to our firewall now and we look at our log files, it blocked it because of the file name. The file type, here we go. The file type here should still be BMP, but it blocked it using the first rule, which was the name, okay? Which once again, we can circumvent by going back to our Linux box, okay? And changing this to Joanne, okay? And now, in theory, we should be able to circumvent it. Ta-da! And the reason why is because it did not match, right? The word Mona, and it was not a JPEG. We converted it to a BMP. So unfortunately, those are the kind of limitations that we're going to get with the DLP sensor, especially with someone who knows what they're doing. That's why it's kind of like the last out the door ditch effort before we actually do, you know, any kind of like it leaving the building. Normal DLP has to start with like the operating system, you know. I'd even say it starts with proper user education, but yeah, there you go. So we were able to circumvent it by renaming it, and then we had a JPEG filter that caught it, and then that was circumvented by changing it to a BMP and also changing the file name. So that is really it when it comes to the terms of the different filing scan types. All right, see how we have a couple of them here. We can try fingerprinting, and now fingerprinting is going to be a little bit different, but that's when we're going to do the hashing. So I will go ahead and I'll save that for another video, and I will see you in just a little bit.